you think they can hear us?
Yes, they can. That's why I'm going to turn this off now.
Why? What were you watching?
It doesn't mute our mics, Michael. Oh.
Yeah, no.
So, hey, everybody. We were having some technical issues, and for some reason, I couldn't also post any comments on Twitch. It was just... so, Zay, I was trying to reply to your comments, and they were all just bouncing back off Twitch. So that's why I decided to go live without a technical notice. Michael, you're still breaking.
Twitchy again. Really? All right, folks at home, tell us whose is worse. Is it me or is it Rory?
Who's the prettiest of us all? Streaming wise.
Well, we know that's going to be me. Tony Boydell just comes into the chat and screams at the top of his voice. The rudest of words. Anyway, Michael is pixelating himself.
Yeah,
that's all good. I had a whole intro and everything for this, our first stream back. It was going to be amazing.
Okay, so let's just reset.
Hang on. We don't even need to reset. We can just do this.
Okay.
All right. Have a drink. Ooh. All right. Guess who just got back today? Those wild-eyed boys who've been away. They haven't changed that much, you say. But hey, we will drive you crazy. It's the Hub Games Hangout, the first one of 2021. There you go. It wasn't worth it.
No, definitely wasn't.
Sorry, I was listening to Thin Lizzy today, and it was just sort of like, yeah, let's go, baby. It's all good times. How are you, sir?
I am... my default answer is I'm okay. In our...
So for the non-Irish speakers amongst you, that means that Rory is on the verge of a cliff.
Yeah, I'm grand.
Grand. He is having stability issues. Which, that's my daily life. That's fine. It's all good.
So just with all the COVID stuff going on, and exams for my eldest daughter, it's just kind of like last minute changes and stuff, which is I'm noticing with teens, they particularly do not like uncertainty. And there's a lot of that at the moment.
True. Tony says that we're safe in the EU.
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll be part of a united Ireland within 5 years. We'll be fine, Rory. Everything will be grand.
So here, Michael, here's the thing. I was thinking about this, and this is like a complete weird aside. So with Brexit, right? Britain, United Kingdom has left Europe.
Yes.
Well,
actually, no. The United Kingdom is, of course, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland has not left the EU. We're still in it officially. So Great Britain has left.
Yeah.
And it's working out freaking well for them already.
Yeah, it's really, but I was really feeling it because I was always harboring this notion of, something will change. And when they finally actually made it official on the 1st of January, I was like, no, but I'm European. I'm Irish and European. And it kind of pains me a little bit to be part of a body that doesn't want to be part of Europe. That's...
gonna get...
Oh. So anyway, that's my political tirade over. We're having really rough times with the internet at the moment. So Ken, is it Michael that you're losing, or is it me, or is it both? Because I'm trying to figure that aspect out. Michael's been taken by the Great Britain. Yay! Okay, well, so this is where if I was that kind of person, I would totally kind of hug the show and take over. But hey, I'm not that kind of person. So yeah, so we were going to chat about a couple of things tonight. One was just, yeah, it's going to be totally the Rory Hour. I should just get a book from like behind me and start reading it to everybody as a bedtime thing. So yeah, tonight we were planning to just catch up after the new year, and see what we'd both been up to in terms of gameplay. And yay, thank. I don't think I could do 90 minutes of my own unless I was playing Untold.
I can
something specific.
All you have to do is just
yeah. But you know me, I don't unless I'm super caffeinated. That wouldn't work.
I mean, true. Anyway, sorry. Maybe we are now stable. We will. Yeah, I'm back from the grasp of WGB. That's it. They didn't like my comments about the United Islands, so they sent a spike down the table to sort of like say, all right, if he does that again, slap on the wrist.
Does someone in what's the civil service, the centre at Whitehall? Yeah. Is someone like flicking internet switches? They're dissing us leaving the EU. Flick.
There's just one that says Michael's house that's just been used an awful lot, and it's just like, look, we should just put sticky tape over it so it's always on. And they're like, no, he needs it. It's like, people like watching him stream for some reason. So yeah, we'll see.
The wait till people start watching and then they turn it off.
Oh, the mean boys. The mean boys at GCHQ are listening to us. Oh man, this is going to be a very weird stream. I can already feel it. Anyway, hello, we're back again. Yes. We being me, the royal we. So there you go.
So how was so you've been doing a lot of streaming over Christmas, and yeah, I didn't join in. I completely went offline mostly for the time. So, but I'm really curious to figure out how it went.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot. I did kind of move away a bit from the just working stuff. But now this week, because we're officially back, I sort of like went, okay, all right, then I'll just go back to the design streams on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then play streams on Friday and Saturday. So Friday evenings and Saturday afternoons. And Jos says it the very best. IdleCon was good. A lot of games were created, and it was absolutely lovely. Like there was like 5.5 hours or something on the first day, 5 hours on the second day of just streaming. And the first day I was just like making stuff. And but we had like a really sort of like bustling chat. The Discord was going really nicely as well. And like people broke out into their different rooms, and it was cool. It was nice to be a part of something that was bringing people together and was just fun, entertaining times. A lot of really cool stuff was done.
So what was the process you used for generating the game ideas, or were people coming with that already?
So I gave the very beginning of it, my initial idea was, okay, I'm going to just have a load of ideas shuffling on a wheel of misfortune, and we'll shuffle it and we'll see what happens. But then I thought, no, okay, we need to sort of like corral this down a bit. So I just came up with 3 rules that I would like to have followed. So I wanted people to do something and write, whether it's a roll and write, flip and write, whatever. I wanted the second component to be something that's readily available in people's houses. So for people who play games like us, that could be anything like dice to things to super useful, dice to playing cards to Bez actually ended up using a book for her one, which was really, really cool. And then the third component, the third element was it needed to be playable on stream. So it was like, if I was in control of like flipping the cards or rolling the dice, everybody would be able to play off of that, but they would have their own play experience. And from there, we had 9 games made, 8 of which we ended up playing on stream over the following 2 days.
Excellent.
And of them, a whole bunch of them are still being worked on and like developed a little bit further, which is absolutely awesome. Because it's that week between Christmas and New Year where it's like, okay, I can't eat another piece of turkey or else I will just explode. And people just wanted to have a nice chill time with each other, and that is what happened. Say, unfortunately, had a migraine and didn't get to make a game, but did attend for pretty much the entire thing. And say, was it you who said it was like the second best convention of the year? Like second best online convention? It's just like, whoa, that is a low bar that I needed to try and get over. But I'd like to know what the first best one was, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it was cool. It was really lovely, and with that, sort of like over that period, the stream has actually popped over 150 followers now as well. So my channel's
nice.
It's picking up, which is really, really nice. And basically, like the moment we finished up, it was like, so should we do another one at some point? I go, yeah, why the heck not? So I'm going to be doing the first person show from Palooza. Okay, of course. So yeah, the plan is probably going to do it in June. We'll do another one in June. So like we'll do like a summer one and then a winter one, and the summer one I'll just make it completely different. We'll see how it goes. But no, it was great. It was really lovely, and the creativity on show was fantastic. The quality of the games as well, considering it was like, you know, like here's 24 hours, go for it and see what you can do. Just blew me away. There was just so much good stuff from several games from people who are actually in the chat right now, which was awesome. So yeah, enjoyed it.
So that's, well, I'll come back to later when we're talking about kind of games for this year. Sorry, just making a note to remind me.
It's okay. I'm just stretching to ensure that I don't start crying.
I haven't told you yet, but
well, it's worrying.
No, it's good news. Your copy of Wasp from Marvel Champions will be coming to you soon. Heidi kept 2 for us, and they're like hard to get at the moment.
Sweet. That's a good thing. Now, the thing is, if Ant-Man does that card,
she does.
She does it big as well? Man, I was hoping they'd get like a tiny one. So it's like they get a normal one, but it's like it goes down to like Ticket to Ride original version size.
Happy New Year, Robin.
Sorry, his name is Rumbly now.
Rumbly, is it?
Yeah. It is this is the way. I believe that's what the cool kids are saying.
Okay. I did actually finish watching that. The Mandalorian.
Damn, I'm the faintest of praise.
I'm not a fanboy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you can't say anything because there's going to be at least one person in the chat who hasn't seen it but is still going to be watching it. It's just sort of like, because I know what you're talking about, because Star Wars is meh to me. It's like it's not Star Trek, is it?
I still love Rogue One. Like, that was an amazing Star Wars film for adults. That's the way I think about it.
Yeah, I have now been ordered to watch it by several people, so I will do. It's going to happen. What else did you get? Like, did you watch anything else weird and wonderful on the holidays? No, you actually went away, didn't you?
Just for 2 nights. To see Anita's grandparents, Anita's parents, and then we raced back before lockdown. was initiated. We did watch Ratatouille the musical. So apparently this is like an incredible thing that happened on TikTok, where back in, I think it was like March or April, someone posted a song that they had written for a fictional Ratatouille the musical. And it just triggered this whole thing on TikTok where other people started doing covers of it. Other people started writing other songs. People were saying, let's make a Ratatouille the musical. Dancers started performing the songs. The like Broadway performers started like covering the songs as well.
Okay.
And they ended up deciding to record via TikTok Ratatouille the musical. So they cast people, they scored it, people performed the kind of music for it. It was about 40, I think it was 45 minutes long. And just on January the 1st, then they released tickets, limited number of tickets. Or it was a time span. You had to book them within like 24 hours.
Okay.
And then you could watch it over the next 2 days. And it was to raise money for charity. But it's incredible seeing, like for Neve watching it, it was this whole thing of, she didn't know which bits made it into the final show. So there was loads of like other variations of songs and performers doing different pieces. And so for her, it was like all of this background to the whole thing enhanced that experience of the final piece, that she was watching. But it's just, I was like, yeah, that's the thing I love about the internet, when just this crazy stuff, crazy creative stuff happens.
On the subject of musicals, there's the obviously I mentioned Blaseball. Be quiet, Alexa. The cultural phenomenon of 2020, and in December they did Blaseball the musical as well, which Alexa, stop. Just unplug the damn thing while I'm recording.
So it's whenever you say Blaseball.
But yeah, it was they did Blaseball the musical.
Oh yes, we've lost. Now look, Alexa's gotten annoyed with Michael as well and has decided to kick him off the internet. He's just making enemies with everybody tonight, left, right, and center. It is quick end, screen grab it. Hang on. Got it. Yeah. I'll hold him to hostage for that going forward. Yeah, so Alexa's now taking a screen grab and is sharing that image all across the internet of Michael. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we live pretty much beside each other, and yet his internet connection is a whole lot worse than mine. It's kind of weird. So while he's off doing that, I'll cover, I guess, some of the games that I was playing over Christmas, one of which was, I don't have it here beside me. I do. Shards of Infinity. Oh, sorry. So I decided to give this a go after realizing that I could. Welcome back, Michael. We got a lovely screen grab of you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's worrying.
Yeah. So we all have it.
You'll have it from me. Good.
I've got some breaking
anyway,
news.
you talk about Shards of Infinity, apparently.
Yeah, but hang on, I've got some breaking news. U.S. Capitol in lockdown as protesters storm building. Is coming from Die Welt, which is the German newspaper. So that's when we lose everybody now to go and find out what's going on.
Say again. What's happening?
The U.S. Capitol in lockdown as protesters storm building is the news headline.
Yay!
Yeah. So I'll check it out.
We can do our hot takes from the comfort of Belfast.
Yeah. So yeah, I was saying I dug this out. I was actually moving games from the house to the studio, and that was kind of, I was going, I'm never going to get to play it, so I'll move it back into the studio. But then while I was there, I watched a video of the solo play version of the rules and realized I didn't actually need the solo expansion to play it.
Mhm.
So I just gave it a go, and it was pretty good fun.
Mhm.
So it was kind of interesting. I know I was talking to Jeremy Howard about it afterwards, and he said it kind of gets a bit dull after a while.
Mhm.
But I think there's definitely a few games worth out of it.
Okay.
And I kind of like how you kind of level up, and some of the abilities you trigger are more powerful, kind of like in Star Realms. You know, if you have certain conditions in play.
Mhm.
So I got to play that. I played like Scrabble.
Champion.
Yeah, and I won the second game. So I retired at that point. And
I have a Scrabble question.
mm-hmm.
How do you play Scrabble? Do you play it as I'm always going to try and make the longest words, or do you play it like an area control game?
Oh, I play it like an area control. Well, a bit of both. I'm very much watching where I'm going to put mine down and whether it allows someone else. You know, I won't put a word down if it's going to make it really easy for someone to get a triple word score.
Mhm.
Like I'll try and hold back on playing it before I do that.
Mhm.
I learned an important lesson from my daughter, who scored 28 points after putting an S down on a word.
I mean, fair play to her.
I
So
know. Yeah, Keelan was like, "This game isn't about like knowing words; it's just about like manipulating them." And we're like, "Yep."
yeah, and the moment that a player comes to that glorious realization, you realize that it's actually one of the best war games on earth, and it's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I honestly think it's like maybe my top 3 favorite games. It's absolutely lovely, and because everybody really basically knows how to play it, but it's just playing against people who play aggressively and intelligently, as opposed to just like go for bingos all the time. I love it.
And we played Battleships as well, so it was very much a kind of classic game night, and that was a really tense game. It was like there was a one hit in the difference. Like I really got ahead with my daughter, and then she completely caught up on me, and she was going for like a 3 piece ship, and just so she landed a hit, and then she went to the right rather than the left, and if she'd gone to the left she would have won, because it just bought me enough time to finish off her ship. So it was pretty fun.
Actually, I completely forgot about that. Saint mentioned in the game that we played on stream with made up words, Blabrex, which is Scrabble, but you're not allowed. We mentioned this previously. The Scrabble, but you're not allowed to use actual English words. I want to play it again. It was really, really, really good. On the subject of battleships, have you seen the new version that's out, Space Battleships? So I think it might be like a Target exclusive in the States or something like that.
Okay.
But it's battleships, but it's played on 3 levels.
Okay.
So instead of like going A2, it's like Sector A, B3.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, okay, I'm intrigued, because it's always interesting seeing how people remix the classics, as it were.
Well, I have, is it Battleship Galaxies?
Yeah, the one that Colby was designer on.
I really like that. But it just, again, I mean, it came out at the same time as that god awful Battleships movie, and I haven't even watched it. But the fact that they tried to make a movie about battleships that also involved aliens.
You leave Rihanna's excellent Hollywood career out of this.
I will gladly. So, but yeah, that game is really good, but it just totally didn't get, wrong place, wrong time, and didn't get any support. Would really benefit from it. I'd always have been talking to Dougal, who heads up some of the kind of new product development there. I was like, would you please go back and look at that game again? It's really good.
Apparently.
Yeah, and they killed it.
Stone dead. 10th anniversary legacy edition.
Yes.
So
we also played. I'm trying to think. Played a bunch of Marvel Champions with Ant-Man. Played a couple of games against Claw.
I haven't actually used Ant-Man yet. I'm still just over delighted by the flippy card.
Oh, I also played and did manage to. Did I beat it? No, I don't think I did. Kang. I had 2 goes against Kang.
Okay.
And I think, again, it's like, oh, I think I've got this. And then, whoop, and just everything catches up with you. And after, it's really weird because I've really been revisiting games that I haven't played in a while, or where I'd only played them once and then kind of moved on to like Shards of Infinity. I'd only played it once or twice. Legends Untold.
Yeah, I saw you posted that on Facebook.
Yeah, which I picked up at UK Games Expo. Excuse me. I really like the idea of it. It's quite finicky, and apparently that's in all the reviews. People go, it's a good game, but it's kind of like finicky. It's just got some nice ideas in it, and I'm kind of playing it a second time to try and level up the character and see how that feels. But again, it's probably got me thinking about, walking home today, I was thinking about some ideas for games in terms of that game puts a lot of emphasis more on exploration than on combat, which is kind of a nice change. So it kind of got me thinking about interactions rather than combat as well, like how you can shift the gameplay towards that end of things. So it's looking at me here. I still have to finish that second game to see how I get on.
It's like that bit in Ghostbusters where Slimer first bit. It's looking at me. He's an ugly little spud, isn't he? I think he can hear you, Ray. So yeah, Alex mentions he lives in Rhode Island in the States, where Hasbro has a building with all the patents for their games, with 2 security guards posted 24/7 at the front door. We'll go in and we'll liberate Battleship Galaxies.
Yeah.
A game for the people, by the people. In this brand new, positive America.
So the other thing I've been doing is painting, as I'm sure you know.
Again, yeah. Like, so you've done a whole bunch of different models, haven't you?
I did. I finished off these guys. So I'll just kind of hold them up. So the lighting isn't great this way.
It doesn't matter. They still look freaking amazing.
Yeah. So they're my villagers. Because there's a whole thing in Japan where they kind of rose up with the Sohei, which are the monks. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. And there's one particular kind of like province in Japan that was wholly run by the monks, which really annoyed the daimyo and the shogun. And then with this one, so there's a building that I got as a present for Christmas, and it's like a wooden kind of ply one. But I'd read and watched a couple of videos of how they actually used markers and watercolor painting pens to do it. Yeah, sorry. So this is actually all colored in. There's no paint on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's just really cool because I was like, that makes my life so much easier because I was just sitting there going,
like even the white panels on the top, are those like Posca pens or something? Or?
Yes. Which I have to say always reminds me of a dear friend, Ash Reynolds, who passed away this time last year from cancer. But yeah, she introduced me to our family to Posca pens. So
Steph swears by them.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy more. I had 1 or 2 just to try, but they are amazing. Especially the white, like to have a white marker that covers over stuff.
Yeah.
So Robin, the game, it's not the Osprey one, which I think was Ronin. It's Test of Honor by Great for Now Games, which if you've been on any other previous chats, I talk about quite a lot with high praise.
Like it's that. I
haven't talked about the other game for a while.
You haven't actually,
no, which has been delayed for a while as well.
Robin said, what are the pens called? Posca. actually
Yeah,
put it
so
in the chat. There you go. Vasca.
yeah, so there were those. There was just regular marker pens, which were I
Well, like
personally
Sharpies or sort
no,
of like.
kind of the equivalent. They were like Winsor and Newton marker pens, like precision marker pens. They were present, and then the kind of washes were done with. They're called Arteca, and
Okay.
they're called brush pens. So
Okay. Yes, that has a few of those. Yeah.
they break up the surface. But yeah, for that kind of essentially those buildings that tend to be quite flat, it makes it really easy, and you just paint them when they're on, still in their kind of frame. So yeah,
it looks incredible.
Not for that in the day. So cool.
Round of applause from this side of the road for sure. It's all good.
Yeah, I got to figure out a way how to play with Erin over in New Hampshire.
That is true. Actually, I was speaking to her earlier today, and she is doing good. She's new job's going well, and everything is cool. And she did say hi to everybody as well.
She got a new job. I'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, because it's a roller coaster.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what I was up to over the holidays, aside from streaming stuff. Playing a few games, mostly digitally, which is cool. Race for the Galaxy, I've fallen in love with again. Roll for the Galaxy, I have tried and really enjoy it, but me playing it just infuriates everybody who's watching me, so I should probably not play it on stream because like, Michael, you're not playing this properly. It's just like, I'm playing how I want to play and I'm still winning. We did some Jackbox stuff. So the plan actually for streams in the future is like Friday nights. It's going to be like community night. So me playing with everybody else, but that's like Jackbox party games or roll and rights and stuff like that. So that'd be cool. But yeah, I've also been sort of like looking at very large piles of games and reading rule books, but not playing anything. Because it's like, I want to play them, but there's so many of them that just don't have solo modes. So I'm just trying to desperately scratch the itch by reading the rule books and going, looking off dreamily into the distance going, one day it'll happen. Because we actually got email through today, didn't we, from the UK Games Expo with regards to their secret plans, which we can talk about. It is allowed.
And Gamma, so register
Gamma,
for Gamma as well.
Yeah, but Gamma's digital as well, isn't it? So, so we are not going to be traveling to the United States. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be going to UK Games Expo either. We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, they are planning for a contingencies for like a real life one, but also they're planning for a not real life show as well. But yeah, there was Plan A and Plan E, which was quick.
Yeah. Well, there's Plan A through to E, and they just called it the A and E plan, which
works.
It's very fitting for the times we're in.
Mostly what I did over the holidays, I think, was like catch up on watching stuff and reading, which was quite cool. So
yeah, so I've been reading a really great book, but that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what have you been reading?
So my main one has been my main two have been about baseball, because obviously, summer 2020 was the year of A, horrifying insomnia, B, watching a lot of baseball because of A, horrifying insomnia. So I wanted to get some stuff that would give me a real good understanding of a real good sort of like basic understanding of the game, just beyond throw ball, hit ball, run. So I got one that was basically like a sort of simplified geek's guide for the entire sport, and it's got lots of really nice history elements to it. It's got lots of facts, and it really explains the rules in a very sort of like straightforward and simple fashion. And then on the so this was a story that's just happened relatively recently, like within the last couple of weeks. Major League Baseball, group who like behind the whole sport. They have like the Hall of Fame, like most American sports have like their Hall of Fame thing. They announced recently that I don't want to say the word because it doesn't sit right in my mouth, but the leagues that were strictly for black players in the 40s and 50s have now been recognized as actual leagues. So they are now going to be sort of like put forward as, Hall of Fame leagues sort of thing. So I wanted to do a bit of reading on that. So I've been learning about sort of like the history of those leagues, and it's incredible. It's like the skills and the amazing abilities of these players whose history, just simply because they were black, has been till now, it's been known, but it's never been sort of like officially recognized. And you hear like the stories of like the legends, Babe Ruth, they called their shot and like, they hit it. And then like, these people who are, baseball legends for a reason because they were freaking incredible at the game. But if these black players had been most of the time A, allowed to play them, and B, in the at the same sort of regarded at the same sort of level as them, a lot of them would have wiped the floor with them. So it's cool. It's good that the leagues have been sort of like recognized, and I'm looking forward to like doing more research and stuff on it as well. So yeah, it's good.
That I do want to chat a bit more about books, but that idea, I'm going to use Jason Perez's term. He was talking about, so he posted a video about 2 days ago about colonialism in games, in response to a question Jeremy Howard had posted as well. And his video is really, really interesting. And one of the things he references is about erasure of history in that. And like what you're talking about is exactly that kind of thing, where something's just completely like eliminated or overlooked. But his video and then the resulting chat on Facebook is quite interesting. Coming from it, and that's kind of pushed me towards some of my future reading around kind of African empires, early African empires. I have been reading Joe Abercrombie. So he's one of those authors who I completely just stumbled upon and have fell in love with, and he's become hugely successful. And the current book is called The Trouble with Peace. And I was looking back, it's about his 12th, I think it's like his 12th book that he's written. I think it's like the 8th in the kind of a particular world that he's been creating. And it's constantly referring back to stuff that happened in those previous books. And I was just kind of going, wow, this world is so full in my head because of the long history behind it.
I know, look it up.
I would love to see it as a series. It's it would be considered a grimdark book, type of fantasy. But in this series, it basically moves from it was very kind of grimdark fantasy, and then where the only magic is literally one or two magic users in the world who are incredibly powerful but never use it. And
so you got the blade itself, is that?
Yeah, that's when you start with. That's the first one.
Cool.
But this one has moved from fantasy to the Industrial Revolution. The start
okay, so introduction of technology sort of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and that's really fascinating because it's all about. It's got a group called the Breakers who basically are fighting for workers' rights, and you've got the Burners who are just like burn it all down. We don't want this, and the nobles are losing power. So it's great to see the world actually moving on as well and not being caught, fixed in this one time. But I still remember reading the opening pages to the Blade itself, and after like the intro, I was like, "That's it. Yep, I'm sold." Bought it in Waterstones and brought it home. That's worth checking out.
Cool. Robin's been reading Rivers of London, and it did not live up to expectations.
That one keeps the cover keeps grabbing my eye, but I've never quite got around to reading it.
I'm down with that. What else? Currently reading The Art of Racing in the Rain, and it's totally exceeding expectations. That's all good. What else am I reading? Oh, so I'm also reading manga called Alice in Borderland after watching the Netflix series, which is only 8 episodes. And if you like messed up game theory, please to enjoy. Yeah, it's exactly what you would expect from a TV show based on a manga that's about games and has a lot of guns in it. But it's also it's got some really nice, strange, thoughtful moments. And it's interesting, sort of you and I are pretty similar, Rory, in that we love seeing how the world of a story is built, and sort of seeing how the how the engine sort of runs essentially. And it's a really interesting world that has been developed, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen as I go further past the TV series.
Cool. I started watching after it's shown up so much, and I saw it being recommended multiple times. Was Ted Lasso?
Oh yeah, okay.
And I was quite surprised because I thought this is just going to be cheesy American comedy. Sorry, everybody. And it's really smart.
Ken is American.
Oh, yes, again. It's actually really smart, and there's just some moments in it where they just do this little thing that deepens that character significantly, and it's got so much heart, because the main character Ted Lasso is just this a genuinely nice, thoughtful guy, or at least that's how he comes across at the moment. And everyone else is kind of scheming around him, and he's just trying to do his thing. So you're really rooting for him, and it's just refreshing.
It's just there are some good people in the world. It's fine.
It is. It's kind of what I need at the moment. So it's. Yeah, I was watching it late last night, and I had to stop after the second episode. I was like, nope, but I could have easily kept watching it.
Oh man, I try. We should probably move on to our actual topic for the episode, I guess. But I do want to say, I made Steph watch The Prestige, or we finally got around to watching The Prestige, a movie that I really like, despite its infinite issues. And we discovered that it was based on a book. And the book is completely different. So that's something that I would like to read as well. But yeah, now neither of us can stop talking about anything without going, revealing something, and then it's The Prestige. So it's it's a stupid intro, but there you go. All right, topic. Let's go, baby. The Prestige.
So, which topic do you want to cover? Resolutions?
Yeah, let's go for it. From here, the house that does no resolutions whatsoever.
Yeah, either do I. So I don't know.
Well, it's less of a resolutions thing. Then it's more of a. Okay, we've survived 2020 inexplicably. Fantastic. A new year is upon us, and what would we like to do? So it's less this is a thing that I'm going to do to better myself. But it's more of a 2021. Let's think about some plans. Let's think about, the world hasn't just with a flip of switch. It's going to be pretty similar to last year. So with that knowledge, what do we want to do?
Well, it's funny because everyone is posting, goodbye, good riddance 2020, and my feeling is I'm waiting for the end of March. That literally the year in my head is running from the beginning of lockdown, which was coming back from Gamma, And that to me is the year when, the beginning of when things shifted. So to me, January 2021 doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's my mental clock is running to a different time. So I feel like I'm still haven't reached year end.
You're working on the financial year. That's like March, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
But in terms of, I suppose, and this is kind of the way where my head has been going, is I've been trying to think about one of the things I'm doing is kind of going back and revisiting games, including Holding On, but also games that I play, like kind of Myth. And this kind of came from thinking about, I'm going to be playing God Tier tomorrow with our friend Stephanos. But we're going to play it remotely. So he's got a copy of the game, and he's going to set up in his house, and I'm going to set up in my house and share my camera with them. So as we're both moving stuff, we can kind of replicate it on both tables. But it's got me thinking about, because we've another friend, Adam, who loves playing games, but he hasn't actually played because he wants to play with the physical thing. He works on a computer all day. He does not want to be on a screen when it comes to playing board games. And I've been trying to think, like one of the things I want to explore this year is how to design games or format games in a way where you can have a copy, I can have a copy, and we can play in such a way where we're talking to each other and we're passing information over, or maybe revealing something to the other person, but they then take that into account as to how they play their round of the game. And almost thinking of games in the way of maybe buying them in a like 1 to 2 player mode version that you buy for yourself, but someone else buys the 1 to 2 player, and they come together and they can become a 3 or 4 player game or a 2 player game that you're playing with each other, but really emphasizing keeping the tactile aspect of it as well. So that's kind of where my head has been going, like just rethinking the notion of getting away from like the big box game and a lot of what's happening on Kickstarter to you can buy your copy, I can buy my copy, but they're not that big. But essentially they combine together to create the game experience.
I mean, I think that's a really interesting way of thinking about it. There have been games in the past that have done that. Summoner Wars, I'm reminded of that Colby from Plaidhead did, second mention for Colby of the show. And Lords of War as well, because that could go that went from a 1 to 2 and could also then be expanded out to the to 3 and 4 players. Couldn't it?
Well, I suppose what I'm trying to think is that it's trying to minimize how you're just replicating the other player's stuff. It's almost like their actions have an impact on your world or play area, but you're not having to spend your time duplicating what the other player is doing.
Okay.
But your actions are so it's kind of, it really fits well with the game that we're working on at the moment. The concept, the idea of visiting. So I won't say a whole lot more, but that idea, you could say so and so is going to visit, and they pull them out and they interact with their game. But you're not having to you're not duplicating the actions of both players, but your actions are informing and having an impact on the other player as well.
They may be taking up spaces, they may be bringing resources, removing resources, that kind of thing. Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. We are allowed to mention it, Rory.
Okay.
Guess.
I will wait. But that kind of thing, and where I could have a game and I could play with someone else remotely. So you could kind of say, hey, who's up for playing X game? And they've got their own copy at home. And so you kind of set up and start playing it together remotely as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's less. Well, it's kind of, there is also like a multiplayer solitaire element to it because Aqua mentioned it earlier there in the chat. A lot of multiplayer solitaire games would work with a bit of tweaking. That's very, very true. But I like the idea of, there's like some sort of. Sorry, I'm seeing the anachrony
Yeah, what's in the chat
as well. But yeah, I like the idea of like the impact that I have in my game is felt in your game, but doesn't have like you said, it's not just a mirror of okay, I move this thing to this spot and there you go, that's done. That could be an interesting route to take things down. So we'll have to think about that. Robin does mention regarding smaller games. Yeah, have you seen the size of the Anachrony expansion box? Xates has arrived. I think I need to resell it and buy the standard retail expansion. I won't be able to lift it if that box is full. So this is like a new thing for Anachrony, because you've got Anachrony with all the fancy bits.
Which is already quite big.
Yeah. And now they need a winch.
I suppose this is like I actually really like Anachrony. I need to figure out a faster way to set it up. And it's that kind of game where you need to play it a couple of times to lodge the rules in your head. But it's also one of those games where, again, it came with expansions, which I don't play it enough to justify buying expansions for it, because there's a lot in the core game. And I think, it's one of those games where, I don't know, if it's sold on the hype and people ended up investing like massively in expansions for a game that kind of doesn't really need them, unless you're playing the game a ton. And it's not the kind of game that gets played a ton, I don't think.
Let's see. So Xate has the Kickstarter Anachrony. Now this is the Fractures of Time Kickstarter expansion, which came in a giant box. Bought it in 1929. Came yesterday. Nice. So I'm down with that. I'd like smaller games for 2019. What the heck? 2021, please.
So my copy of Dice Stone Adventures arrived. I played it with Manny at Gen Con 2019, I think it was, where he ran a demo of it. That game is like, it's weird because Dice Stone Adventures has like just enough of the stuff I want in a game, like just enough dungeon crawling, just enough combat. It doesn't kind of outstay its welcome. But again, it's like a big box, and that doesn't even contain the components you need to play a character, which is all separate stuff.
Hang on, so rewind that. So you need Dice Throne Adventures for the game, but then what you need like a Dice Throne game as well to play it? Yeah.
So you need a character to play in it, because it's only it's an expansion, but it's like a big box expansion that has all the dungeon crawling aspect of it.
Okay.
But I mean, to me, it's always that balance between, I know we've kind of gone off the topic of resolution, but it's the balance between, the expansions, how much space they take up, how much time they take to set up and play, and the cost of it. It's got all the gameplay aspects right. It looks beautiful. But again, there's just it's like, if there was just a way to take a character and stick it into that box, so I'd have everything together. But it's just, big boxes. I'm done with big boxes of stuff.
Well, I like, so Robert said 2021 International Year of Scaling Back. I am totally here for that. Like, because I've seen so many people on social media going, I've been staring at these game boxes for the last 9 months, and all they're doing is keeping my shelf warm, and that's it. Like Lance, the one, Lance Meister, he's there going, look, now admittedly, he currently has COVID, and it's just sort of like being like the morbid boy.
Sky's falling.
Yeah, sky's falling. But it's like going, I'm just going to get rid of all of these things and only keep like my 100 favorite games. And it's just like, dude, you own like 3,000, something like that. But scaling back is cool, and not just sort of like scaling back collection, but also scaling back the size of games, scaling back scaling back the components. Go for something. I mean, this is something that we've actually tried to do.
Mm-hmm.
We scale our games down because we want people to buy them. We want people to be able to afford them. So we make the components generally a little bit simpler.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, scale back the game content because you don't need a 90 session game. Gloomhaven, I'm looking at you. Because it's unnecessary. Like, so I want to say, Slay the Spire.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite video games of all time. They've announced a tabletop board game of it. And I have absolutely zero freaking interest. You would think I'd be there banging the door down on day one. But I know that it ain't going to be what I want from the game because it's a 2 to 4 player game, 45 minutes per player. And it's like Slay the Spire is not a 3-hour game, my dude. Slay the Spire is like a 30, 45 minute extravaganza, keeping it chill. It's unnecessary. Like our time on this planet is limited at best. So I don't want to be sat down playing 3 hours of Slay the Spire. It's not worth it.
I think then if I was to set I don't know, a goal, it's not going to be a resolution. I think I would like to, like this year, develop some just print and play stuff to put out and a couple of experimental things to try, because that's kind of one of my curiosities with people is their interest and willingness to purchase print and play games. We keep running into it where, like with Holding On, people are looking for free access to it on Tabletop Simulator. But if you create a good experience with a small print and play game for, $10, is that valuable to people?
I would argue that yes, it is. If you allow me to do a little bit of a share screen. This is Card Rails by Travis, who was on my show a couple of weeks ago. And maybe it's because it's the Make 100 thing. So Kickstarter do this every January. They encourage creators to go like, okay, make a thing. There's literally just going to be 100 of them. That is it. But he's making the game, and it's going to be like physically available. There'll be 100 units of that. But from those 100 units, they're only going to go to people who are in the United States because international shipping is expensive. So what he's done is there's a print and play thing for for £5, $6, you can get the file to print them up yourself. And you can see there that it has 215 backers. Yeah. Because it's an interesting idea, it's fun, it's experimental, it's cool. And I definitely think there's an audience for games that are a little bit more experimental, people who are willing to try, whether it's like a more of an RPG experience or a small strange card game. Do it, make it happen.
Yeah.
It is all good.
Is there another Slay the Spire game being developed?
No, Aqua has a Slay the Spire concept, which is pitched at 45-ish minutes and is also solo. To be honest, if they went for a solo board game that was easy to manage, because Slay the Spire video game has got an awful lot of bookkeeping going on in it that the video game does for you. If I wanted to do accounting the tabletop game, I would probably play an 18XX instead of Slay the Spire. But if they'd gone for a simple, easy to manage solo game, I would have been there on day one doing the shut up and take my money, I think. But dubious.
So what's your what goals or resolutions have you got for this year?
I want to dive back into my games collection. There's an awful lot that we play, but there's also an awful lot that does not get played half enough. And I would really like to sort of just actually sort of spend some time and go through and play the things that have just been sort of like, keeping the shelf warm for a while. Obviously, I've picked some things up over the course of lockdown, over the course of like the 9 months of working from home and all that sort of thing, but not anywhere near the amount that I would normally do if I was at it. If we were going to shows regularly. You and me, we go to a show, we'll come back with.
We trade as well.
We trade, but we'll normally come back with 2, 3 new things, and it's like, ooh, excitement. But because we went to a lot of places, we'd come back with a lot of things, and it's now those lots of things have been played a few times, and it's like, okay, right, so maybe it's time to start paring down the collection a bit more and seeing the stuff that I really do want to keep, the stuff that I really do want to play again and again and again. I also want to trade things a lot more as well. So I want to kind of get involved a bit more in the UK math trade that happens every couple of months. I got a couple of things out of the last math trade, and to be honest, if I can switch out 2 or 3 things from my collection that I'm not playing for 2 or 3 things that I'm potentially interested in, that I can then flip again later down the line if I'm not interested in them once I give them a shot. That's cool. I mean, the last sort of couple of years, I have veered away a fair bit from the cult of the new. Most of it doesn't really excite me hugely. So if I'm happy to wait like a year to 18 months to play this current hotness, then, it's going to be easy enough to get them in a trade at some point. So yeah, I think 2021 is like the year of cultivation almost.
Instead of the year of the cult, it's the year of the cultivation.
Cultivation. So yeah, paring back a little bit. I have games that sat downstairs that I've not played in 18 months to 2 years. So it's just like, well, this obviously isn't, it's the Marie Kondo thing. Does this spark joy? And it's like, at the minute, no, it's fine. And if it doesn't spark joy for me, it'll spark joy for somebody else. Or it can buy me a new camera, new webcam, whatever. So yeah, that's cool. It would be nice to claim back a bit of space downstairs and give Steph some room to throw a whole load of doll supplies everywhere.
Well, I don't know if you find, I find I'm thinking a lot more about the games that I'm playing and what experience, like I'm sitting there going, am I enjoying myself playing this? Now it's partly, when I'm doing some of the solo stuff and what is it that I'm looking for? And actually like a big part of it is like setup, ease of play. Like I'm willing to suck because I suppose I'm kind of thinking about the time that we're in is different, so we're not with other people. So the things that we need from a game are slightly different than what we'd tolerate or forgive if we're playing with the larger group.
I agree. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of an interesting thing for this time. And for me, it is ease of setup and giving me just enough of an experience. I don't need anything that promises me this big experience. I'm like, I don't think you're going to deliver on that. So I tend to steer clear. I know, is it Legends of Everdale? Something of Everdale is, I know Jeremy's in love with it at the moment, and it's on a lot of people's top.
I get Everdale, Legends of Andor, Etherfields, Legends of Elephants. It's all the freaking same to me, man. I mean, I'm old and tired and bored. Sat in the corner weeping.
That's where when I happened on Beyond Solitaire's interview with, I'm going to draw blanks on names, the designer of Stonewall.
Oh, Taylor.
I got really excited. I was like, literally, the first few minutes into the interview, I was like, oh my God, this is the first game I've actually gotten really excited about hearing about in a long time, because I was going, this is just the kind of theme and topic that I want to see in games. So I have it loaded on Steam, so hopefully we can, I'm going to try and grab you to play through it.
I'd be up for that. I mean, I did get to play it with Taylor a while ago, and was very excited about it, because it is an interesting game, and it's. I mean, we sort of like back and forth on chat about it, but yeah, it's like it's a game about a topic and a subject that is very, very, very rarely covered in media, but at the cornerstone of it is a really well put together game. So it sort of like marries those two things together very, very well. Like, you know, an interesting subject, a pretty divisive subject for a lot of people as well, and just great gameplay. You know, it's thought provoking. I liked it.
So I just want to catch up on a couple of things. So I like this now. It's been coined the Rory year.
And Aurorius.
So I'm kind of curious, Robin, are people buying new games or just not buying games? Because I've been talking to a couple of store owners, and they're saying how, again, it's like all of what we would call the classic games, like the Ticket to Rides, Catans, they're all selling really, really well, as our 1 and 2 player games. But new stuff isn't shifting. As we well know.
We may be aware of this this minor issue. And so, Robin also says no one's been buying secondhand games. Maybe it's just in Denmark where Robin is. I've noticed that the secondhand game, like Facebook pages, have been blowing up.
Yeah.
Like they are very, very, very busy.
But that's, I think people are, well, one thing that worries me is people are in financial difficulty and having to move the things on. That's my first thought. And also the realization of they can't justify holding on to those purchases they made because they're not getting to meet with people, because they can sit in that shelf of possibility of, oh, well, next game night, I'll bring that along. But now I think the combination of hard times and that previous expenditure is forcing people to move on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a 250 quid or in some case like £500 Kickstarter pledge. It's a lot. And yeah, you may have spent that money a year or 18 months ago, but good Lord, you could probably do with 500 quid now. So yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Aqua has a cool thing. One of my long-term projects is a narrative space adventure game that sees stories unfold over 5 60-ish minute episodes. Would that attract you or put you off? Rory O'Connor.
So that's like, I think that's the ideal. For me, that's the ideal to work towards in terms of game design, where a game gives you an arc in roughly that time period. And it's, I think ideally it would be emergent. So the game is designed to create those arcs so you can come back and keep playing the game. But if I know I'm going to get 8 to 10 plays out of it, I'm kind of getting to the point where I'd be okay with that. But again, I'm not going to spend, I think in my head, I'd be thinking that's like $40, maybe 50. Because I don't need massive components if I'm only going to play the game 8 times to have that experience. So to me, the ideal is that there'll be an element where that could happen in an emergent way, where I would want to come back and keep playing the game and seeing those different arcs, come out of it. I'm kind of thinking along those lines at the moment in terms of a game idea I have as well. It's how can you sit down and have that tight experience in a short period of time and give? I always think it's like give just enough of an experience. Don't try to do everything. Just give just enough where you enjoy it and you want to come back for more.
Do the good stuff. Do it well, as opposed to doing 7.5 million different things to an okay degree, sort of vibe.
I think, like, I don't know what's. I'm not a huge fan of, like, I backed This War of Mine by Awakened Elements, but I've not backed anything by them since. And because my feeling is just they're trying to do everything and recreate this epic, like, I think that they're trying to recreate what the experience you get playing an RPG game in a board game, but that's emergent, and it's the combination of all of these minds that are creating that thing, and you just can't recreate the your brain fills in the gaps, like in the kind of storytelling element, which a game has to give you rules for all of those things. And it just pushes a game towards being too unwieldy, I think, when you try too hard to replicate the RPG experience.
Yeah, so, I think you got to trust the players, and a good gaming group is going to be able to, as you say, fill in those gaps, because that's what the human brain does. That's the reason you end stories on cliffhangers. That's the reason that TV episodes will end on those dramatic moments, so people can speculate and see what's going to happen. So yeah, it's
so
it's going to be interesting.
In response to what Robin's saying about scaling back games, and just almost giving some of the key components, I would be an advocate of that approach this year, with the goal of possibly publishing it then a year later. So it's a good way of experimenting with a game, and if it hits, then you can do a full production version for a wider audience, because you're not going to make a living taking that approach. Like, unfortunately, for those of us who find ourselves working full-time in the game world, that approach isn't necessarily going to work. But I think it's a really good way of try before you buy, and having people invest, and I think bringing people into the design process. It's what we've talked about, Michael. What we're trying to do with our streams is making people part of the actual development process a little bit more as well. So maybe as we're working on, might be interesting thing to look at with Holding On as we do it, that maybe we release the changes as a print and play for people.
Yeah, that could be interesting too. It was Yellow, wasn't it? They did the 8-bit box that came out a couple of years ago, which was the idea being, here is a whole bunch of components and some games. And then I think they only ended up releasing like one other game for the system. Like, it kind of fell on its butt. It did not do very well at all. And I don't know, the games themselves were okay. There was one that was basically Pac-Man. There was one that was sort of like a track and field, Daley Thompson decathlon kind of vibe. But the games, I think they were all very, very light, maybe too light. And I think Aqua says it best. Game systems are very hard to market, especially if you want to sort of like do the cardboard equivalent of DLC, because you need to make sure that people are constantly aware of the base system, and then also have enough good quality extra products coming along in a regular fashion that people are going to pick them up. So yeah, it's tough, but we shall see.
Yes, but I'm really curious about also the kind of themes that people want to explore now. Like, before Christmas, I was like, I just want to hug somebody. I'd see the people that I haven't seen in a long time and hug them, because I'm very much a physical contact person.
Mhm.
So I think, I'm kind of interested also looking at the year and kind of going like, what are the themes that people are interested in? Because is it still going to be empire building and combat focused type games, or are we going to see even more divergent themes coming out in terms of gameplay?
I mean, I was looking on BGG earlier, and
Hugging on.
as is my hugging on. I was going to say hug of love. It's like the game about platonic relationships.
No, unrequited love.
We talked to Jacob about that, the game of the friend zone. But yeah, I was looking at these are all the games that I'm excited to see in 2021 and that are coming up, and frankly, it's the same old bullshit. Because this is going to sound very bleak, but the vast majority of gamers kind of don't care about, this game is about colonialism and that's a bad thing. It's like, well, so be it. But these are the kind of people who will fight and roar against. Why are you putting they instead of he? That sort of stuff, which is not great.
So that's where I think Jason's video is interesting, and the comments. And one person in the Tiny Epic Hugs, yeah, I'll totally make that game.
Actually, I've got Scott's email. I'll drop him a quick message and go, yo.
Yeah. So it's funny, we're joking, but I actually think
the games are
there's
Hug Arena.
Yeah, there's space for kind of games like that. So there's I'm guessing a parent was a big fan of Puerto Rico, which is one of the games that Jason was kind of targeting in his critique. And he, the father was saying he didn't really see a problem with it until his daughter played it and was like, "Dad, you do know they're slaves and they're brown. I'm not playing this game." And it kind of hadn't crossed his mind. And I kind of replied and said,
it's really interesting. Colonists.
But it's really interesting with my own family and my daughters. I get this window into a completely different world. And so, yes, you've got those gamers who are kind of saying, I don't really care about it. But there's a huge wave coming of people who don't have time for that bullshit. And it's time to start designing for them and not going, oh, well, there are markets, so let's design for them. But Robin, I am totally stealing Hug Kingdom. I can just see it. It's like your objective is to run around the kingdom and let's hug as many people as you can before the others do. That's the starting point.
Leaving money on the table. If we're not going to do the a hug line, then there's just no point.
Do which one? Sorry, you're breaking up.
Oh, okay. I'm going away again. Yeah, there you go. Hang on. All right, let's say that again then. Hopefully this will work. Nope, it won't.
Okay.
But yeah, we should. Yeah, hug games.
Okay.
Imprint spin-off line of really chill, nice games. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just do parodies of existing titles with hug and affection in them.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Oh God, did you see? Oh, it's Terraforming Mars dice game coming.
Yeah.
I have been enjoying playing on Steam, though, it must be said.
Actually, sorry, this is completely unrelated. So I had heard that a number of licensing deals had been struck with a Japanese firm for Rory Story Cubes themed sets of Story Cubes, and the first one actually came out, and it is for Doraemon, which is one I had been discussing back when we still had Rory Story Cubes. So whilst I wasn't involved in it,
very cool.
I was very happy to see that they had followed through with that. Yes, that's Space Hug, where there's all these creatures coming to hug you, and you don't like close contact. But that could be another game, actually.
Yeah. No, I'm going to assume that you can sort of like wave your magic wand and go, "My name is Rory," and get a couple of sets. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll see.
What do you mean? Just try. You just do this. Do you know who I am? Mm-hmm. Actually, if we're talking about games behind Rory, Hug Bowl.
Yes.
2 teams attempt to try and hug each other as much as possible over the course of a 90-minute game.
We'd have to use Grova as like our avatar, whose move in Prism Arena is hug.
Yeah, that'll work.
So it's actually just all of the characters have her ability, or have their ability.
That works. Yeah. A hug instead of Azul. Just build the nicest hug you can. Hug Quest, the adventure game system. All right, I should probably stop there. All right, so I think my thing is going to about to collapse and fall over again, so I should probably draw a close to this weird conversation. But we are going to back on.
There'll be a next IdleCon where it's all hug themed games.
Yes. Oh yeah, by then we'll be a year and 4 months into the whole thing, so we'll all be even more desperate for physical contact of some description.
I will actually. I'm just looking at the titles, and this hug of mine.
This war of hugs.
Yeah. But this hug of mine makes it just such a personal thing.
Mystery hug. Who was it? The lights went out and you felt the warm embrace of another human. But who was it? Try and discover before the train pulls into Paris.
Is this like Cluedo?
Adventure Hugs, a series. I mean, 17 out of 10. I would play all of these.
Yeah.
Marvel Champions, the hugging games.
I'm putting it out there, just games with a different theme to it than the usual kind of conflict.
Yeah. I mean, I would totally do a game jam where all of this stuff is banned. So it's like no colonialism, no conflict, no fighting, no war. Make something chill. And that's your one instruction. Make something chill.
Mm-hmm. Well, so one thing that came up, sorry, and I know I keep rambling, but it was really interesting. In the topic, they were talking about like colonialism, and so do you just like make slavery, the repercussions of slavery, a part of the game? And someone made a comment about, maps being kind of European centric, and it all stems from that. And in the States, there's like a counter mapping project where some of the indigenous people, they're collecting maps of how they were recording the land. And that kind of got me thinking, is like, kind of, that's how you do it. You just make a game from a completely different, so you can still take the same kind of game, but just make it from a completely different perspective.
Uh-huh.
So instead of using the European map, you use a map of how it would have been recorded from like an African empire, or from a kind of a Mexican perspective, and start the game there. It doesn't mean you have to include the impacts of slavery in the gameplay, but you just tell the same kind of stories from a different angle as a counter to what's out there as well. So yeah, when I saw that about maps, I was like, ooh. So like all these kind of like essentially Ticket to Ride type games, or you can have different kinds of travel games, area control games, but they're just done from using a different map of the world, as in almost like how we make sense of the world and use that as a different starting point for the game.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'll be doing some research in that area. Forbidden Hug.
It's 2020, too passé.
I have a funny, like, I feel like Robin's just looking at my game shelf.
Yeah, I think so.
And renaming everything. Though he can't see my copy of City of Kings, in fairness, but he is riffing off that. I do actually want to get Frank on here at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be good. Our neighbor from across the way.
Yeah.
Marvel Champions, Hug of the Red Skull.
Yeah.
I just want love! Oi, yours have already done Hug Bowl.
Yeah, he is literally just going down through my shelf. Look. Face Hug.
Hero
Black
Hug.
Black Hug Fortress. Hero Hug.
Oh, man. Death Hug, the expansion.
Yeah, Adventure Hug. Matchy Huggo.
Blank, the Hug game.
Yeah. Stop. Everybody stop.
Yeah, now we stop now. What?
One other game we were playing over Christmas, which I'm so glad I finally got the family to play it, is Shipwreck Arcana.
Oh, nice.
Because that game has that like one more go aspect to it.
Yeah, I agree. How did it go down?
It's really well. At first they were kind of like, I was going to just play around. And when they played it, it was like, can we have another go? Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Can we do it again? And it was just like, yeah. So to me, that's like, it's so good in terms of, you're working with the numbers 1 to 7. There's a logic and deduction element to it. Now the theme makes no sense whatsoever. So Aquisilis is asking, is it, I never quite know, is it deduction, or to me it's logic?
I think there is a deduction element to it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the predominant thing is, you are working out a logic puzzle essentially.
But what
the
I do
puzzle
love,
changes every time.
But I do love the fact that you've got information that the other players don't have, so you can kind of cue something for the players, because you can't get away from the fact that you know something and they don't.
Yeah.
So in your head, you're like, well, it's obvious that I wouldn't put it there, but they don't know that, and you're watching them squirm as they're trying to, like, work out the number, and they're like, well, of course he wouldn't put it there, because if he put it there, it would mean something, but he didn't, so he put it over there, so that must mean something completely different, and you're going, oh crap. I forgot about that.
It's weird that I really enjoy the Shipwreck Arcana, but I absolutely am growing to hate the crew. I'm still going to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Still going to play it with Ken. Still going to play it with Xate, but it's Shipwreck Arcana. I can get my head around. The crew, just repeatedly more and more, and they've announced another crew game. I'm depressed. It's good. I can see why it's good. It's a very clever thing. It's very intelligent, but Michaels are just not built for it. It's just not how it works. The Hug ? Oh God! All right, we're going away. We are going to be back on Friday. We're getting back.
Yeah.
Back to the mines.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the Billy mines on Friday at 2:00.
Yeah, I've been there's something I'm going to test before Friday. I want to try, because I might bake it into radically overhaul the solo rules for holding on. And just thematically to try something out.
Mm-hmm.
that would allow people to kind of really get through the story. So I just want to try that. And then we can maybe chat about it on Friday as well.
Yeah. Well, let's chat. We'll try it out. We'll chat about it, and then depending on how it goes, we could show it off on stream, see how it goes. You could run me through it, and I can see how things go. That could be pretty cool.
But it's more like of an end game situation of something you would carry forward.
I see.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, I'll be back tomorrow over on my own channel, which you can see there, twitch.tv/Michael, where I'm going to be working on the roll and write version of Gem Miner, which would be a cool thing. And yeah, that's kind of it. Bit of a weird first episode back, but oh yeah, Joe, your timing is
impeccable.
Immense. Perfect. Chef's kiss for your timing. Mwah.
So I will say I have finally figured out how to set up Calendly. So I will be inviting lots of people to join the stream because it was really piecemeal up until now. So I'm trying to plan, get people booked in much further ahead for it.
Yeah, and as ever, if there are guests who you folks want to hear from, if there are people that you want to suggest, let us know. We can chase them up or hunt them down or,
I think particularly people that you think, like for me, it's kind of struck me that when we've had the more kind of personal conversations with people, they're the ones that have resonated with all of you. So it's people who you would maybe think would, I was thinking you'd like to see get more kind of visibility because we have a huge audience you just kind of would like to learn more about that person, and then hopefully we can draw that out in the conversation as well. So it's not just talking about the games, but learning a bit more about what kind of drives the person.
Very true. And yes, I agree. Yes, we also have fun when they go off the rails. It's true. Yeah, we don't have a big audience, Rory. We have a cool audience.
We do.
It's a cultivated audience.
We have a select audience.
Jesus Christ. All right, we are out of here. As ever, thank you very much indeed for joining us live. If you're watching on the catch-up, that is a lovely, wonderful thing as well. We'll be back again, like we said, on Friday, 2 o'clock, doing some stuff with that Billy. It'll be good times. For now, though, have a lovely rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it may be. And we will catch you later on. Goodbye.
Have a good one. Bye.
See you in a bit.